We are on air and we are recording. And welcome to the first and soft launch of Brandon Lunch Bunch with our panelist of experts who are going to offer advice and tips on how to do business in these stay-at-home times. Quick story behind these. We're in this, we don't know what yet. Everybody has their own experience. We have a lot of businesses that are hit, and some people on this panel are literally out of work now. The business was shut down, as well as millions of others. And that's not even the worst of what we're going through. I watched news the other day, and it was those sad stories of the nursing homes and the hospitals, and it was emotionally painful to watch. I had to turn it off. If I could do something, I'd go there and gird myself and help. And what's most frustrating is to not be able to help, not be able to do anything. That sort of compounds the hurt. So a few weeks ago, back in March, a guy named Skip Cohen put together for photographers nationwide a group like this for photographers. Some encouragement, some were in this together, some tips and ideas what photographers could do now, and to prepare for the future. It was a great idea. I liked what we did. In fact, Larry was on that panel, and I thought we could do that for the Brandon area, and that led me to that's something we can do. That line of do what you can where you are with what you have. Well, here's what we have. This I'm pointing to the people around me and the media that we're in, right? We have this media donated by a Better Choice Network Solutions. They're donating this webinar service. Thank you so much to them. We have this. We're in our homes, and this is what we can do. So we have a panelist. I called people who I know are experts in restaurants, on camera, legal things, technical, real estate, finance. They said yes. They'd be glad to be on this panel. So that's what we have. And we're going to spend anywhere from 15 to 30 minutes on these. We don't want to go too long, but we will, in fact, take questions from our viewers and our visitors. That will drive the topics we cover and how long we go and what we do on any given day. We'll take some lessons from all of that. So that's what we have. That's the quick story behind it. My name's Dave Loebig with Pacesetter Media. That would be my introduction. I've been in media for 20 years. So when this came up, I can work with media. I can put on things like this and work with other folks. And I want to go around the panel and let everybody introduce themselves. And then we're going to get on to the main topics of the day, which is the CARES Act and the Family First Act with Danielle. And then we're going to do restaurants and hospitality with Darren. And then if any of our panelists have 2-minute tips, we'll finish up with some 2-minute tips. And I've got one at the end too. That's a 2-minute tip. So with that, first up on my screen is Darren. Could you please do a quick introduction?
Well, good morning. And Dave, thanks for hosting and thanks for having me. I'm excited to talk about the planning stage, where we go from here. The way I've personally and business looked at things is as long as we're okay on the health side, we can manage our way through everything else. And so far, fortunate enough, we're good on the health side personally, and we're just trying to take every day and figure out where we can come back, what we can do to help the current situation, and how we bounce back stronger. So my name is Darren Denington from Service with Style, Secret Shopping, Training, Consulting. We've been in business for 22 years. I try to stay fairly connected locally with the Brandon Chamber and understand what's going on, but we do work with a lot of companies nationally and internationally. And we're working our plan and we're excited to get back. So again, I'm excited for today and thank you.
Yeah, and just real quick, you do restaurant and hospitality, training and consulting, right? That's
the heart of what we do. Yes, we do a lot of restaurant coaching. We secretly shop a lot of different businesses on the guest perspective side of things, but hospitality, I'm a restaurant owner. So yes, I understand what's going on with that too. Yes.
Yeah, that's your line. Thank you. Next up on my screen is Danielle, please.
Hey everyone, Danielle Dryden with Dryden Tax Resolution. In normal non-pandemic times, I help people when they have issues with the IRS, any collections problems. The IRS is sending you letters or wanting to take your paycheck or dip into your bank account, I'm the person you should call to make that stop. So I can set up payment plans, file offers and compromise, etc. During pandemic times, since the IRS is closed and collections is shut down until July 15th, if you have an IRS problem, it's still a really good time to get a jump on that, since there's no collections looming over your head right this second. It's a good time to get all the paperwork and everything put together so that we are ready to go and hit the ground running as soon as the IRS is ready to go on July 15th. So definitely don't hesitate to reach out to me if you're having an IRS issue. But right now, during the pandemic, since the tax resolution side has slowed quite a bit due to the IRS closures, I've switched to educating myself to the hilt about the CARES Act and all of the new legislation and everything that has come through. So I'm pretty well educated on that stuff. So I'm going to be presenting some information that I know, some information that we all think we know, but things are changing kind of all the time. So I'm staying up on it as best as anyone is able to. So if you have questions about that, I'm also the person that you call. So
Yeah, thank you. Next up on my screen is David Thornton, please.
Good morning, everyone. It's David Thornton with a Better Choice Network Solutions. After a very long and decorated career in law enforcement, I started this company about 5 years ago and still focus very heavily on cybersecurity, which we cannot ignore just because we are now working from home, most of us. So primarily technology and cybersecurity would be my focus. And if you have any questions, make a better choice for your business.
Thank you. And next up, Larry Becker.
Hey, my name's Larry Becker. I do video projects in Central Florida. I have a lot of clients in Central Florida, and I've been on camera for a lot of years. And so what I did when I left my studio job about 4 years ago, I did a bunch of little tips and tricks videos about being on camera, and it really didn't have a lot of traction. So that's when I went into actual video production in Central Florida, helping small businesses put themselves on social media videos, website videos, and things like that. And I would say probably 3 months ago, I went ahead and finished a book idea that I had called Great on Camera. And it is a written book ready to go. It actually launches next Tuesday. And ironically, I started doing some more of those little tips and tricks videos about how to be on camera. One of them got picked up by USA Today last week. And all of a sudden, everything's exploding. And so people are watching that video like crazy and contacting me. I just did a radio interview. So I'm helping people be great on camera. And my book comes out. Wait, I got it. My book comes out next Tuesday. So that's what I do. I help people be great on camera. And now I'm helping a lot of people be better on Zoom.
Thank you. If you weren't going to mention USA Today, I was going to. Thank you. Next, Yovi, please. I have no audio from you.
All right. Can everybody hear me?
Yes. Thank you.
Okay, perfect.
Yes.
Good morning, everybody. I am Yovi Fermin. I'm a realtor with Charles Rutenberg Realty. And one of the many things I do for our customers is to help them get educated, especially during these times where we have a lot going on. There's a lot of uncertainty. I wanted to start by saying that we are going to get through this. This is just temporary. And when it comes to buying and selling a home, there is joy involved. There's a lot of stress and uncertainty. So I am here to guide my customers through the process, help them get educated, and make sure they have a successful closing. And that's it for now. Thank you.
Thank you. And we might have Mac with us. I see a phone icon lit up as if he might be talking or could talk. Maybe not.
He emailed and said he wasn't going to be able to make this one.
Okay. I don't know who that number is then. Okay. So those are our panelists. Thank you so much. We even have others we're bringing on for other topics like finance and retirement accounts, things like that. Again, ask the questions. Those will help drive us and will also lead me to reach out to other experts in fields that are relevant to what we're doing. So thank you, panelists, for joining in for our intro. For right now, we're going to turn it over to Danielle. And Danielle is going to give us an update on the CARES Act and Families First Act, or some combination of all of that. So Danielle, take it away, please. And if everybody else could please turn your video off.
So, a lot of things have changed since the last time we did this little presentation group. Things are changing by the hour, literally. So I'm basically spending my day stalking the internet, trying to find the most up-to-date information. And if you haven't already, please head over to my Facebook page at Dryden Tax Resolution at Dryden Tax Res, and follow me, because I'm posting information as I find it on that page. So it'll give you sort of a running tally of the most up-to-date information in real time. So I will be today, because I've gotten a lot of questions that I didn't realize that people had. So I'm going to be posting hopefully some summary sort of FAQs. But if you have questions, feel free to ask a question. Up at the top of the page, there's a little button that you can use to ask a question to the presenter, which is me. So I'm happy to be able to answer any of those right now as time permits. So head over to that button. But there has been a lot of questions most recently about the stimulus checks. So I wanted to touch on that real quick. Stimulus money is actually being deposited into bank accounts right now as we speak. The IRS sent the first wave of checks out on Saturday. I think another wave of checks went out Monday, might have been late Monday evening, overnight into Tuesday. A lot of people received their money yesterday. So I imagine there's going to be another wave come out tomorrow morning. So if you have filed both your 2018 return or a 2019 return, and you entered your banking information so that the IRS could direct deposit any refund that you received, then you'll be receiving your stimulus check as a direct deposit into that bank account. If you owed money, even if you paid while at the same time you filed your return, the IRS does not have any authorization to deposit money into that account, only to take money from that account. So while that seems a little bit counterintuitive, they won't be using that account to deposit any funds, and you'll be getting a paper check. If you don't want a paper check, or none of those things apply to you because you haven't filed a return, because you're not supposed to file a return, or you just for some reason decided not to file a return, first of all, you should call me because you need to file a tax return. But second of all, there is a link that I will post here in the attendee chat for you to use. So head over to that link. Most of you will fall under the little box on the right-hand side, which is for people who normally are required to file a tax return. So you can go and fill out the form through that link and enter your banking information so that you can get your stimulus money faster. If you are someone who only receives Social Security, so your income is not such that you're required to file a return at all, you can use the box on the left-hand side to put any direct deposit information in there. It is recommended that if you can wait for a paper check, to please wait for a paper check. But if you need the money right this very second, like millions of people do, go ahead and fill out whichever box applies to you, depending on your situation. So that's some stimulus information. So watch out in your bank accounts. There might be a present from you from the federal government, which doesn't happen very often. So get excited. With regard to the CARES Act, there are a number of people who have applied for the Economic Injury Disaster Loan, which came with the $10,000 grant. Fun fact, the $10,000 grant was determined to not actually be a $10,000 grant. It was up to $10,000. You got $1,000 per employee that you reported. So a lot of people are seeing that grant money in their bank accounts already today. I was one of the lucky winners of the EIDL loan grant money lottery this morning. So I got that. So check your bank accounts for those, because when you filled out the form online, there was a box to check that you wanted to be considered for the grant and a place to enter your banking information. If you've not already applied for the economic injury disaster loan, I would recommend that you do so, but I would be cautious in getting your hopes up, because I know that money is either entirely gone or running very dry. I do know that the president has requested additional funds for those SBA loans, and I think that the House and the Senate are supposed to reconvene on the 20th to discuss that option. So stay tuned for that. The PPP loan, many of you have probably heard of that. That is funded by the SBA, but administered through your bank. So if you have not already contacted your banker, you should do so right now. Well, after this is over, because we have a lot of awesome things to say, so you should wait till we're done. But right as soon as this meeting is over, contact your banker, because they are going to be the best person to help you through that process. It is really confusing. They need a lot of paperwork. Each bank is requiring different information depending on your situation and depending on their particular institution. So the best way to figure out exactly what you need to do for that loan is to contact your bank directly. I also want to caution you that a lot of banks are not choosing to participate because there was a lot of difficulty with receiving the funds from the government and protections and all of that political stuff that we don't need to get into. But contact your bank. That's going to be the best way for you to have access to that fund. So that's kind of the brief summary, but I would definitely encourage you to head over to my Facebook page for up-to-date information. It's at Dryden Tax Res. I'm also on Instagram, but since you can't post links on Instagram, I'm not quite as active there right now. Facebook is definitely the place to go. And if you want to talk to me about your specific situation, as opposed to asking general questions and trying to figure it out on your own, I am offering 30-minute consultations for $100 to discuss CARES Act options for your business specifically. So we'll walk through everything as it pertains to you, figure out which option or combination of things might be the best for your particular business. So I can definitely help guide you through that process. That's all I really have. If you have questions, feel free to ask them. I'll be here.
Yes, we have a question or two up. I'm going to bring it up. One from Danetta. Does this show up? Yes, here we go. Can the banks take your stimulus check if you owe them a payment for credit card mortgage?
Yes. So I'm going to expand on that a little bit. So if you have a balance due to the Department of Treasury, so if you have a tax problem and you're in an installment agreement or you're not in an installment agreement, the IRS isn't going to take your money. The state, if you owe your state in Florida, that's not really a thing since there's no income tax here. But if you are outside of Florida and you pay income tax in your state, the state cannot take those funds. The only thing federally that can seize those funds is if you owe back child support. I guess the theory is that this money is for immediate expenses like housing and food and utilities, and that is also what child support money is for. So if you owe back child support, it is likely that those funds will be seized. And there's also been some talk today on various forums that if the money is deposited into a bank account for an institution who you also have a balance due of some kind or a delinquent account, then they can seize that money. So it is always my recommendation that you do not bank with an institution to whom you owe money, because they have easier access to your money that way.
Thank you so much. And this question was in fact about payment for credit card mortgage, yes, personal stuff, as opposed to what someone owes the IRS.
Yes.
Thank you. Next question. And you had indicated by chat that you took care of Deb's questions. You
Yes,
did this.
she was having some connection issues. I got her all set.
Oh, gotcha. Those questions. So she's got another question in here, and the questions. I'm bringing this one now from Deb. I'm sub S and submitted my EIDL as if I might know what that is as owner. Should it have been something else? If so, how do I amend it?
So you are the owner. So no, you probably did that correctly. And you can't amend those applications because nobody has done anything with the idle loans yet. The only movement on the idle loans that we've seen are occasional deposits or the starting of deposits of the grant money, which is an advance on that idle loan. So did you do it wrong? No, I don't think so. How can I amend it? You cannot. So if you did it wrong, it just is wrong, and it'll have to be addressed at some later point when that option becomes available. But I think you're good to go.
Okay, one more from Deb, and it's this one. If I didn't owe anything, I'll be getting a paper check, right?
If you didn't owe anything, then it's likely that you got a refund. So if you received a refund and you entered your direct deposit information for that refund and the refund went into your bank, then your stimulus check will also go into that same bank. If you somehow managed to calculate your tax exactly and you owed nothing and you did not have a refund either, so your tax was zero, then you would be getting a paper check. So the only people getting direct deposits right this very second without filling out that form and the tool that I let you know about, you'll be getting paper checks. Your only direct depositors will get direct deposits for now.
Thank you. And I have a question from a friend of mine who runs a painting company.
Yes.
And they have 1099 employees. Well, not employees, 1099 contractors.
Yes.
She had asked, because one of these loans, it will be forgiven if it goes to payroll, something like that. Are 1099 contractors part of what they would consider payroll?
That is an excellent question because people have said yes, people have said no, people have said maybe, the no's then turn to yeses and the yeses turn to no's, and nobody, I don't think there is quite clear guidance on that just yet. SBA has said specifically initially that you should include 1099 payments into the payroll calculation. Later, it was released that you should not be including them. And I know that for the Paycheck Protection Loan, which is the loan that we're referring to here, banks are not allowing owners to include that calculation. So whether it is actually the rule, I'm not sure. But functionally, 1099 contractor expenses of any kind are not allowed to be included in your payroll calculation. Because those people are actually able to go and apply for their own PPP loan. Right. So if you apply for them and pay them, and they also apply for themselves and pay themselves, they have now been allowed to double dip. So I think this was an issue they've attempted to address on the back end.
Thank you. And I know as things change, you'll be keeping up with it and keeping us up to date. And as any new information about that and anything else comes up, you will let us know. Thank you so much.
I will.
Dave, there was an added question also.
I'm sorry?
There was an added question also.
Oh, let's bring that one up. Thank you for letting me know. What if you are married filing jointly? Will each person on the tax return receive a check?
No. The check will be sent to the household. So I imagine that if Sam and Judy are married, that the check will be written to Sam and Judy, and those amounts that both Sam and Judy would earn individually will be combined. So if Sam and Judy are married filing jointly and have no children and there is no income restriction or limitation, they would receive a check to Sam and Judy in the amount of $2,400.
Thank you. Thank you so much. And next up, we're going to turn to Darren Denington, our restaurant hospitality expert. And it looks like he's popping in. Thank you so much. Darren, take it away.
Well, thanks. And that was some fantastic information. Thanks, Danielle. The restaurant industry, right, incredibly challenged. And a lot of what we are looking at feeds into every type of small business out there. We went into the struggles very quickly of what do we do with our business? Are we even allowed to be open? And then everybody dove into survival mode, and they started realizing that they had to instantly cut their staff and cut their expenses and try to pivot. And the pivot model, some of the restaurants were able to stay open, to keep the lights on and keep a few dollars generating. That pivot went to takeout and curbside and delivery and family style meals, and tried to see if there was a valid option to continue in business while we figured out what was going on. That has changed. In the last week or so, we've seen a lot of restaurants, unfortunately, kind of throw the white flag in and just say, we're going to hang tight until we get fully reopened. We just can't make a takeout model work. And when you look at percentages of employees, let's say you have 75 employees in a restaurant, all your servers and bartenders and managers. In the takeout model, you probably drop down to 7 or 8. So you were able to keep your core team. And a lot of places have kept that core team busy, and they're working on some good projects while they're trying to figure out how to be a takeout business. There's been some fun campaigns, and there's places doing it really well, whether it's romantic dinners for 2 or special discounts, rotating meals, family style. Some of the restaurants now have pivoted into grocery stores where you order your sandwich, but we'll also send you a gallon of milk. And those are helping. So no matter what stage you're in right now, you're still in that survival mode. I want to start looking forward to the bounce back model, when we get out of this. And I think because of a lot of reasons, there's pivotal decisions to be made, crucial decisions to be made right now that are going to guide where you go forward. Obviously, there's going to be a lot of people that are looking at their business and saying, do I have the passion to continue? Do I have the financial resources to continue? And will I have the business to continue? And if you're answering yes to those and you're bouncing back, then I go straight into brainstorming mode. Let's get some ideas. Let's have a little bit of fun with this and put some big chalkboards up on the wall and dry erase boards and plan out what type of business you really want to have when you come back. The positive side of this is it's forcing a lot of people to make a lot of hard decisions. And those decisions go to every aspect of your business, right? Who do we use to get our food? Who do we use to supply us with propane? And who's our payroll company? And do I really need an email marketing campaign? Should I use? And you're making all these decisions because we went into survival mode. So many places just eliminated a lot of those services. Now, as you rebound, you've got the ability to paint a brighter picture and clean up some of the things that you've been on the fence. I'm not sure if I should work this part of the business. Is it really worth my while? Well, now you've got the opportunity. So in brainstorming mode, you start to look at where you really want to go. Then it's a matter of actionable steps, and you start to develop a plan, and you have your small little categories. This morning, I got off the phone with a large sports pub in St. Pete, and we basically broke his restaurant into 4 different groups. He is looking to bounce back. He's operating takeout now, and we're putting a staged plan in for his employees. The employees is the big piece here. Who you bring back, and the labor market's going to be incredibly different. We fully don't understand what that's going to be yet, but the labor market's going to be very, very different. So this particular sports pub is looking at using the PPP as the grant money, so they have to make sure that they properly adhere to all of the restrictions and spend the money accordingly. The way you do that is with a good, smart plan. And the categories we broke up into, he's going to put a lead person on product and service. So he wants to make sure that the menu and the service and they're working on how we get better. He's putting one person in charge of marketing, and they're going to start to create the comeback message. We're happy to be open. We missed you, and the promotions that go with that. Marketing right now is probably not the best time, but they're planning and getting ready for that. Then you've got the business and the decor and the building. How are we going to refresh our business a little bit? And maybe we move some pictures around. Maybe it's a good time to do a small renovation, change some lighting. How do we make the building look better? And then there's the employee part of it. Who are we bringing back? How are we bringing them back? Do we need 25 employees to open, and we're going to go the first month with that, and then we're going to have a plan to get back to 75 in the next 6 months? It's all about planning. I recommend that you grab your core team, and that's what we're doing here at Service with Style. We, like everybody else, had to put several people on hold. We kept our core team, and we're working through good, solid projects so that when we rebound, we've got some new products, we've got some new training pieces, we're launching a new survey program, and we're trying to look down the road. How I personally looked at this all the way through was I had the 1 week plan, the 3-month plan, and the future plan. And currently we're writing out the 3-month plan. The 3-month plan included our priorities, our projects. Absolutely, positively, on the first was a budget. We had to understand what we could keep going, and we've been able to change our communication course. We now have a team meeting every single morning and figure that piece out. Now, for the restaurant that I own, we've got a 42-step action plan to reopen, and we're slowly working that one. Service with Style, we're working much quicker because of what we can, but the restaurant is in a holding pattern. So no matter what time frame you're at, you have to have your plan in place. You've got to be looking at the 3-month plan, how you rebound. The decisions you make today are going to put you on the new path. So it's troubled times, but with a good, solid plan, I think we can manage our way through this.
Thank you. I literally just stepped away for just half a second, but I was close enough. Thank you so much. And let me check for any questions. Don't have any questions for you. Thank you so much.
If anybody has interest in not creating the plan, but I'd love to talk about this stuff. If anyone's curious, just check out our website and send me an email. We'll jump on the phone and I'll talk you through anything. Servicewithstyle.com. So.
Thank you. Okay, those were our main topics for the day. And if any other presenters have any 2-minute tips, I know David Thornton said he's got a 2-minute tip to talk about. David, you want to come in and thank you.
Yeah, real quick. I'm going to put a poll out there real quick to test this a little bit. And we'll put that. So how many of y'all are in love with your internet service provider? We get a lot of frustration expressed about internet service providers. In fact, it's one of the most hated industries. Most people complain about the thing and things like that. But the answer to that is actually 5G. And 5G has kind of gotten a bad rap recently, and we've been able to trace back a lot of the misinformation that has been coming out of about 5G, and that misinformation has been largely driven by Russia. So at the same time that Putin is pushing them to feed this disinformation campaign, he's actually been promoting 5G for his own country. So the reason why 5G is such a benefit is that when the cable and internet companies actually were formed, they divided up the country. They divided up the country as to who was going to have certain segments, and as that has grown, they've been buying out smaller countries or smaller areas and smaller companies, such as Bright House, and basically have formed a major monopoly. We are fortunate in the Tampa Bay area in that we actually are able to get a choice between two major companies. But again, most people are not happy with either of them. So what 5G does, if all of your cell phone companies can provide you with high quality, high speedy, reliable internet, then you've got a lot more competition. So the prices are going to go down. It benefits everyone. But all of this information that's been provided about 5G has been linked to everything like causing Alzheimer's, cancer, autism, and even recently COVID-19, which shocks me. But that's all disinformation, and it's largely been coming from Russia. So don't believe the hype. Tell your friends don't believe the hype, and ultimately look forward to the next generation of basically accessible Wi-Fi for everyone.
Thank you. Any other presenters? Just turn your video on and come on out. Anybody else with a tip?
Sure, I'll give a tip.
You might.
Say that again.
I thought you might.
Oh, yeah. Well, in fact, I'm going to keep mine under 2 minutes. Just go watch the video that I created. It was a tips and tricks video about how to be better on Zoom calls. And as I mentioned at the top of the session today, it actually got picked up by USA Today. So a lot of people have seen it. Just go to youtube.com/Larry Becker, and you'll see a video there called Great on Zoom. And that will tell you in about 8 minutes exactly where to put your lights, what to do to get rid of your face shine, how come your face looks round and distorted, what to do about your background, and things like that. So hopefully you'll get a lot better experience because you're forced to be on Zoom calls. That's all I got.
Thank you. Anybody else? Okay.
Hi.
Yes, go ahead. No, go ahead, Yovi.
Awesome. Thank you. Yes. I want to share a couple of just a tip about mortgage deferment and the difference between mortgage deferment and forbearance, since a lot of borrowers are looking this route because of job loss. I just wanted to give a little bit of clarification about the difference of the both. So technically, both of them allows the borrower to temporarily stop making their monthly mortgage payment. Now, the difference is with the forbearance period, the payments that were made will have to be paid at the end of the forbearance period as a lump sum. And with the deferment allows the borrower to repay the money over a period of time, basically as a second mortgage payment, or add it to the current mortgage payment, or to add that portion or that amount of payment made at the end of their loan. And the best suggestion I can give is to talk to your lender. And when you talk to your lender, ask them what relief options are available, because maybe the deferment or the forbearance option is not good. Maybe they have other better options for the borrower. Ask them what relief options they have available. Will interest continue to be calculated while the forbearance or the deferment is in place? Will there be any fees involved when using these programs? How will be reported on the credit? And also, if they have to pay their escrow and insurance payment. So that's it, and I hope that can help some of the people that are on the chat.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Perfect. I have one final tip. I think that'll wrap up our 2-minute tips and then wrap up our whole soft launch of Brandon Lunch Bunch. Now, I've been working at home for 20 years. So I have this down. This is all, this part of it of being home is nothing new to me. And my tip for anybody, especially someone like, I know someone in New York who went from walking 2 miles a day, is just a matter of the way you get around New York, to staying in our apartment all day and having no exercise whatsoever. So my tip is move. get exercising, coming up with some way to exercise. I sometimes start a timer every 30 minutes. It dings. I stand up and do some calisthenics for 5 minutes. Push-ups, jumping jacks, squats, stretching. So go to YouTube, look up weight-bearing body weight exercises is the term. Calisthenics, stretching. Look for exercises that you can do. Stay within, your fitness level. There's plenty of people there who are hoorah, super fit, 20-year-olds who have their channels. If that fits you, great. Find what fits you. Do some amount of exercise every day. If you've gone from walking a half a mile a day, let's say, just for going to the office and going about, to doing nothing, that's a big change. Keep yourself moving. Now, this is a visual medium we're in, so I want to use a visual. I've been telling my dad periodically to get up and do squats. So I'm going to do just some little squats right now. You can't see me all, but that's okay. I'm just doing it because this is a visual medium, so I want to use it for that. And just get up and do little quarter squats, or do what fits you. Do what's your level. Do anything. Learn some exercises. I wanted to save this to the end because I want to say, as soon as we're done with this, we're going to end this out. Stand up, do some exercise, do some stretching, go to YouTube right now. And I think my sister was watching, and my dad is probably watching with her. So I'm going to remind my dad again to stand up right now, do some light squats, find those little weights you had, do a little bit of lifting. And then Danielle, she had her tip to go go to your bank or look into this right away. Do that after you get up and do some exercise right now. And with that wraps it up. I just want to give our next one. The next lunch bunch is Monday, April 20th at 11 a.m. And that is a wrap on this Brandon Lunch Bunch. Thank you for watching. Thank you for joining us. Thank you for your questions. Visit Pacesetter Media. Send any questions there or to lunchbunch@pacesettermedia.com. And we'll see you again on Monday at 11 a.m. Thank you.